Plan Commission of November 23rd, 2021 order. Roll call, please.
Hannah here.
Sullivan here.
Grillo here.
Lorick here. Kavich here.
Donnie here.
Super here.
Chandler here.
Okay, that'll get us to the approval of minutes of November 9th, 2021. If everybody take a look.
Mr. Mayor, for the record, Commissioner Aldani and Alderperson Guzikowski are currently in the room.
Okay. Don, microphone. Happens. Okay. So back to the minutes of November 9th, 2021. Commissioners, if you'd all take a look. And any questions, comments? Please bring them up. If not, motion to approve.
Seifert moves to approve the minutes of November 9th, 2021.
Guzikowski, I'll second.
Roll call, starting with Commissioner Sullivan.
Sullivan, aye.
Grillo, aye.
Lorick, aye. Kavich, aye.
Guzikowski, aye.
Aldani, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Chandler, aye. And aye.
And that will bring us to significant common council actions. Carrie, please.
Council approved the following: an ordinance adopting the 2022 budget and making appropriations, an ordinance amending the conditions and restrictions in ordinance 2987 for the plan unit development for 1880, 1900, 1997, and 1998 West Creekside Crossing Circle, an ordinance approving a conditional use permit for a financial institution with drive-through facilities on the property at 7902 South Main Street, new aldermanic ward boundaries based on the 2020 census data, and resolutions 2275 through 2279, approving the project plans for the amendments to TID 7, 8, 10, 13, and 16. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Carrie. Get us to item 5, Board of Housing and Zoning Appeal Actions. There were none to report. Item 6 are quarterly Parks and Recreation Commission actions. Our next report will be given January 25th, 2022. And that will get us to old business and item 7A. And that is a master landscape review submitted by Dave Decker Properties for multi-residential development on the properties at 8100, 8146 South 27th Street and 8100 South Orchard Way. Carrie.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This will look familiar to you. We did have some comments and concerns that were raised at the previous meetings, and staff and the consultants have worked together to address those concerns. We would like to thank the consultants and the applicant for working with us through those issues to get to a plan that we're presenting for Plan Commission review and approval here tonight. This was required prior to review of site and building plans per the PUD, and we have some landscape plans that are a little bit different than what was previously presented. Overall, this is how we are approaching the landscape plan for the entire property. And I say properties, I mean the development. And we're going to talk about these in 4 quadrants, just to make it a little bit easier for review. So the northwest quadrant is really talking about the screening for those buildings. The A1 building is the tallest building. It's also the building that has the most units in it. And then it kind of steps down toward those townhomes in the B1 building. So what you'll see are landscaping areas that are around the base of these buildings, and some tall landscaping items to screen these buildings from the properties to the north. You also have some landscaping around the clubhouse area that we'll talk about in a minute, around the transformer areas, and then some street trees. The clubhouse area, again, perimeter landscaping around the clubhouse and the pool area, around those transformer areas, in the landscape islands and the island that is dividing the entry for the property. We also have some very nice dense landscape areas that kind of create this entryway. You'll kind of notice that it continues in almost a circular pattern at the corners to give that entryway a real sense of arrival for the development. In the center, we continue the landscaping around the perimeters of the buildings, adding a little bit more along the north side. We don't have as much of a dense buffer here to the property to the north, because that's when the property to the north kind of tapers off into more of a landscape area. And the street trees along Orchard Way, it's actually South Orchard Way, those are per the requirements for the city, kind of continuing from the center here down South Orchard Way. And again, perimeter landscape along the buildings and in between. So with these plans, we are recommending that the Plan Commission approve with the condition of approval that is on the screen. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Carrie. Before we move ahead, applicant, would you like to make a statement, or are you just going to wait for any questions?
I think just wait for questions.
Okay, it's been indicated. Mr. Decker will wait for some questions. So we'll go on to the commission. Commissioner Hanna, you want to start us off?
Yeah, I have no questions, thank you.
Commissioner Sullivan.
I have no comments, thank you.
Commissioner Carrillo.
Nothing for me.
Alderman Lorik.
No questions, thank you.
Alderman Guzekowski.
No questions, thank you.
Commissioner O'Danny.
Nothing for me, Vic.
Commissioner Seifert.
No questions at this time.
Commissioner Chandler.
No questions.
Me neither. So away we go. If somebody would like to make a motion on 7A.
And I move that the Plan Commission approves the master landscape plan for the Oaks at 8100 submitted by David Decker Properties for the properties at 8100 and 8146 South 27th Street and 8100 South Orchard Way with the following condition: that all detailed, revised, and finalized plans are submitted in digital format to the Department of Community Development prior to submission of permit applications.
Seifert seconds.
Roll call, beginning with Commissioner Carrillo.
Carrillo, aye.
Lorik, aye. Bukiewicz, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Oldani, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Chandler, aye. And aye.
Sullivan, aye.
Okay, moving right along, item 7B, plan review of site, landscape, and related plans, again submitted by David Decker Properties for multifamily residential development on the properties at 8100, 8146 South 27th, and 8100 South Orchard Way. Carrie.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. These plans will look familiar to everybody on the Plan Commission, so I will just briefly go over what is being proposed for the PUD. 218 units and 10 multifamily residential buildings. We did look at the clubhouse with the outdoor pool. The CSM to redivide and combine these properties is yet to be recorded, so that's forthcoming before building permits can be issued. And this is part of a PUD, so we did have the conditions and restrictions as part of your packets to refer to. Each of the red outlined buildings on this property, or on this site plan rather, are the larger 3-story buildings with the most units in them. Then it kind of steps down. The B1 building has the 10 townhomes in them. The 2 yellow buildings are, I believe, two-story buildings. Green steps down even further, and then the smallest building on the property is the purple one with 4 units. And on the proposed parking, we did talk about underground, attached garage, and surface parking. The attached garages are in the townhomes, so that B1 building. Underground parking for the buildings are in the table here, as well as surface parking. It does comply with what the requirements for the PUD. Elevations for each of the buildings, similar materials for each of them, cement board siding and brick. We did discuss this at length during the PUD discussion. No vinyl is proposed on here. So again, cement and brick to match what the code requirements are. It will be up to the Plan Commission to determine whether or not these percentages for each of the facades is acceptable. It does need a 3/4 majority approval for the use of fiber cement, and just a reminder of the 65% brick masonry and glass requirement for multifamily residential. But again, the use of cement board is up to the Plan Commission, and it's up to you to determine whether or not these percentages are acceptable. So I'm going very quickly through these. This is just a holdover from a previous plan. It is an error. The metal roofs will be shingles to match the rest of the buildings. Clubhouse, again, similar to the rest of the buildings. We did have an allowance in the PUD for the height restriction to be greater than the 17-foot for accessory structures. And to remind you of what the property and what the development will look like, here are the renderings that we have seen previously, the entry to the development from 27th Street. The sign is a placeholder. It will meet the requirements of code per the PUD, and we worked with the applicant and their consultants on the dimensional requirements. It's a placeholder because we don't have the design finalized yet. And with that, there is a suggested motion for approval on the screen, one of two, with conditions for Plan Commission consideration. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Carrie. We'll open it up, Commission, for questions, comments. Chauncey, you want to start us out?
No questions.
Fred?
No questions.
Don?
No questions.
Chris?
No questions. Looks good.
Greg?
I have no questions, thank you.
Dawn?
Nothing for me.
Matt?
I have no questions.
Christine?
Nothing here. Thank you.
And again, nothing on me. We've been over this quite a bit. We've really brushed through this one quite a bit. So I think we're all in good shape. Appreciate all the work that staff did, along with the applicant, to get us to the point we are. I know it's tedious sometimes, but I think we wound up at the right conclusion with a lot of this. So thank you all. So with that, motion, please.
Lorick moves that the Plan Commission approve the site and building plans submitted by David Decker, Decker Properties, for the properties at 8100 and 8146 South 27th Street and 8100 South Orchard Way with the following conditions. Number one, that all relevant code requirements and conditions of the planned unit development remain in effect. Number two, that copies of wetland fill permits approvals by the Wisconsin DNR shall be provided to the city prior to the submission of building permit applications. Number three, that copies of all WISDOT access approvals and agreements shall be provided to the city prior to the submission of building permit applications. Number four, that the exterior brick veneer meets the minimum 4-inch thick requirement per code. Number five, that all mechanical equipment, transformers, and utility boxes, ground, building, and rooftop shall be screened from view. Number six, that all stormwater, water, and sanitary sewer requirements are coordinated with and approved by the engineering department and Oak Creek Water and Sewer Utility prior to the submission of building permit applications. And number seven, that all revised plans, site, building, landscaping, etc., are submitted in digital format for review by the Department of Community Development prior to the submission of building permit applications.
Guzekowski, I'll second.
Roll call, beginning with Alderman Lorick.
Lorick, aye.
Kokavich, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Oldani, aye.
Sleeper, aye.
Chandler, aye. Anna, aye.
Sullivan, aye.
Bill, aye.
Good. Thanks very much. New business, item 8A, consideration of a conditional use permit amendment, request by Timothy Grayman, All-Star Buick GMC, for an amendment to the existing conditional use permit to include the property with the former address of 7070 South 27th Street. Carrie.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's pretty straightforward. This is the current All-Star Buick GMC dealership that we're talking about. It is zoned B4. It does have a conditional use permit attached to it. It is also located in the RRO overlay district. Unfortunately, that existing conditional use permit did not extend to the corner property because they did not have ownership of the property at the time the conditional use permit was requested. So the request is very basically asking for that to be incorporated into the CUP and be subject to those conditions and restrictions. There was a requirement within the conditional use permit that they post an escrow to keep in mind that if that corner were to ever be put up for sale by WISDOT, that they would acquire it, and that happened in 2019. No other changes to the conditional use permit are proposed with this request. One point of clarification: the certified survey map that combines the two properties still needs to be recorded. That needs to happen before anything can happen on that corner property. And the conditional use permit request does need to go before the Common Council in order to be approved, incorporating this into the conditions and restrictions. So just a point of clarification there. And there's a suggested motion for approval on the screen. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Carrie. We'll go right to the commission. Christine?
No, nothing. Straightforward.
No comment. Thank you.
Dawn?
Nothing for me.
Greg?
I guess just a quick question. I don't know if it exactly pertains to this item, but you mentioned the certified survey map has to be recorded before anything's done on that corner. Is there a time frame that they're going to do that? I believe they started building stuff on it already.
That should have been completed before anything happened on the property. Because it doesn't meet setback requirements, as we discussed whenever we were reviewing those plans for the vehicle display area, that CSM should be recorded as soon as possible. It technically should have been recorded already, and the conditional use permit should have been approved before anything happened as well.
Okay. No questions then, thank you.
Yeah, Chris?
No questions.
Don?
No questions.
Fred?
No questions.
Chauncey?
No questions?
Okay, I myself know. Carrie made it pretty clear. Unfortunately, they did start the work, but nonetheless, they were going to obtain the property, so we are where we are. So nothing further other than next time, let's follow the procedure. I like consistency. So with that, motion?
Sleeper moves that the Plan Commission recommends that the Common Council approves a conditional use permit amendment adding the land with the former address of 77 South 27th Street after a public hearing.
Point of clarification, it is 7070 South 27th Street.
I'm sorry, I thought, okay.
Anna seconds.
Roll call, beginning with me. Aye.
Guzekowski, aye. Ladani, aye.
Sleeper, aye.
Chandler, aye. Anna, aye.
Sullivan, aye.
Bill, aye.
Lorick, aye.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Item 8B, consideration of a temporary use permit submitted by Mark McLean, One Headlight Power Sports LLC, doing business as House of Harley Davidson for a temporary operation of a motorcycle training course in the Kohler parking lot located at 7925 South 13th. Lori.
You got it.
It was the eye contact.
I have a tiger. Yes, Mayor, this is for a temporary use permit for the House of Harley Davidson. As you may recall, this has come up every year for the last 4 years. Staff have not gotten any complaints about their operations. The operations are going to stay the same. That's going to be on the south side of Coulter's parking lot between 7 and 8 p.m. up to 7 days a week. And really, it's only going to be 7 days a week if there's rain during the week. So they're extending that time period. This will also include the on-site 40-foot cargo container for storage of the motorcycles. And then it'll also allow for 2 32 square feet signs. And then I provided a suggested motion that we've used every year for the last 4.
Thank you, Lori. Very quickly, before we go to the commission, Carrie was emailed email, and I'd like to read it into the record as it was pointed out to my attention. It should be. Subject was a temporary use permit at Kohler's, and it was addressed to Carrie. And it says, although I cannot attend the planning council meeting regarding the temporary use permit for One Headlight Power Sports at Kohler's, I wanted to provide some input. Our property is at 8975 South Stern Street and is an immediate neighbor, and we are also the manager of Creekside Corporate Park to the south of the proposed location. This temporary use has been conducted before, and we have found it to be harmless. In the past, it has been well run and caused no problems for any of us, our tenants, in the building to the south. To us, it seems like a fine location for this kind of low-frequency event, and as a result, we would encourage the Plan Commission to approve the request. Please feel free to contact me. All the best, Mike Faber, Principal, Capstone Quadrant. Okay. With that, we'll go to Commission. Chauncey?
No questions.
Fred?
No questions.
Don?
No questions.
Chris?
No questions.
Greg?
I have no concerns.
Dawn?
Nothing for me.
Matt?
No questions, thank you.
Christine?
Nothing here.
No, nothing from me either. You know, you've provided a great service for many years, and we hear nothing but praise for it. And thank you for keeping motorcyclists safe. We do appreciate the partnership.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Commission.
With that, motion on 8B, please.
Guzekowski makes a motion that the Plan Commission approve the temporary use permit request submitted by Mark McLean, One Headlight Power Sports LLC for the operation of motorcycle operator training site at Coulter's property at 725 South 13th Street with the following conditions. 1, that all relevant code requirements remain in effect. 2, that all course activities shall be located within the south portion of the parking lot as per the proposed map. 3, that operations related to the training course be limited to the hours between 7 a.m. and 8 p.m. Monday through Sunday. 4, that there shall be 1 cargo container for the temporary storage of course equipment and materials within the south portion of the parking lot as per the proposed map. The cargo container shall be removed within 7 days of the last training course. 5, that the signage for the operation be limited to 2 4x8, 32 square foot each temporary signs on the cargo container. And 6, that the temporary use permit shall be valid between March 22nd, 2022 and November 9th of 2022.
Oracle second.
Roll call, beginning with you, Chris.
Guzekowski, aye.
Ladani, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Chandler, aye. Anna, aye.
Sullivan, aye.
Bill, aye.
Clark, aye.
Kevich, aye. Great, thank you very much. That will get us to 8C, and that is a plan review of building, site, and related plans submitted by Andrew Comey, Oak Creek Franklin Joint School District for an accessory structure on the Oak Creek High School property at 340 East Peace Road. Carrie.
Mr. Mayor, we are going to have our intern, Jack Konevsky, give the presentation this evening.
All right, Jack.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a proposal for the Oak Creek High School. This is a 81 foot and 5 3/4 inch by 24 foot and 6 inch accessory building. It will be located south of the storage building and west of the existing football track and field, or football field and track. All setback requirements are met in the proposed location. It is designed to meet existing dugouts, concession stand, and the other storage building on the property. The proposal is to use white and gray LP Smart panels for the materials, which is not listed as an accepted primary exterior material. But as you can recall, Plan Commission approved the use of LP Smart panels on similar storage buildings at Oak Creek High School and middle schools. It will require a 3/4 majority vote for approval. With that, there's a suggested motion for approval. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Jack. Andrew, you want to say anything or wait for questions? Name and address, please.
Yep, Andy Cromie, 7630 South 10th Street. This project is just really an extenuation of our night's construction projects we brought forth a month or two ago. Very similar structure. You know that we currently have a structure sitting there next to the football field. That structure is outdated. If you were to walk inside of it, it is clearly not suitable for storing anything anymore. So we're looking to have a storage unit put to the south of that. Ultimately, at some point down the road, we would raise the existing barn with the potential of putting tea rooms in for our football teams, both home and away, to have access during the games, but that's far off into the future. This would simply be replacing that storage unit with something that's much more suitable for storing outdoor, both band equipment and track equipment specifically, that keeps rodents out and is much more weatherproof.
Great, thank you. Let's start us off, Christine.
No questions from me.
Matt.
No questions. Thank you.
Don.
No questions from me.
No questions.
Chris.
I've been in there many times, long overdue. No questions.
No questions.
Fred.
No questions at this time.
Chauncey.
No questions.
Fortunately, I do got one. The LP siding. It's not in our code. Is it ready to go into our code, Jack?
Um,
Yeah, I wasn't gonna let you get out of here without a question, you know? No, but I'm serious. I would like to know, because we struggled with this, the veterinary clinic, I believe, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
And, but we've done it some other places.
Yeah, it's been at the Brentwood Veterinary Clinic and also the 2 middle schools in Oak Creek and the high school. So
Okay. I just guess I don't recall the middle schools and the high schools. Did we okay it at the vet?
Yes.
Well, we did, okay.
And
That was the first time that we had seen, sorry, Jack.
you're okay.
That was the first time that we had seen LP Smart Siding proposed as a building material as an alternative to fiber cement.
Okay.
What is included in the draft code is time, I don't know the exact wording that they have in here, but it's basically time-tested and weatherproofed materials. It does allow for a variety of materials. I don't know if the LP Smart Siding is specific to the language in here. I would hope that LP Smart Siding is not actually in here because that would be very specific to the brand.
Okay.
So it probably will say something like fiber cement, masonry products, wood, those kinds of things, or as approved materials by the Plan Commission. So it gives you a little bit more leeway in the new code. It does specify more acceptable materials in the code. But as far as LP Smart Siding specifically, I think that's probably one of the extra materials that can be approved at the Plan Commission level.
Okay, that's a name brand.
It is. That's why I'm saying it's not specified in the code as
Okay.
LP Smart Side.
Okay, I couldn't remember. I thought we went round and round with siding. I thought it was on the vet clinic on.
We did, because that was something that we had not seen before.
Right, and
Typically, it's fiber cement.
And it made it.
Yes, it did.
Okay.
Yep, I would just add the building materials are exactly the same as the sheds going up at east-west and the tennis court between the football field and the tennis courts.
Okay. No, appreciate that. And I'm really glad to hear Knights is doing it. That's great. Just talked to Matt today. So they're doing well this year, even without the home. So nothing further from me then. We can look for a motion on 8C, please.
Clerk moves that the Plan Commission approve the site plan submitted by Andrew Cromie, Oak Creek Franklin Joint School District for the property at 340 East Putes Road with the following conditions. Number one, that all relevant code requirements remain in effect. And number two, that all detailed revised plans are submitted in digital format to the Department of Community Development prior to submission of permit applications.
Hold seconds.
Roll call, beginning with you, Don.
Hold aye.
Seifert, aye.
Chandler, aye. Anna, aye.
Sullivan, aye.
Grillo, aye.
Clark, aye.
Kavich, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Okay. Before we move to adjournment, first things first, we want to thank the staff. It's been a really great year. We're down to one more meeting for the year. I want to thank you. It's been a very different year. We started out on Zoom, came back face to face, kind of did some hybrids in between. So I want to thank the staff for all their hard work. You always do a great job and make our job much easier. And then particularly with the zoning ordinances going forward. I know that's a lot of work, and then to come up here and your mind is focused on what it's focused on, and then trying to get us to understand, and the whole thing can be trying sometimes, but do appreciate all the hard work everybody's putting in. IT guy, great job as always. Mike Havey, thanks for coming. I know you had nothing going on here tonight, but thanks anyways. Couple quick announcements. Our annual turkey trek is happening Thanksgiving morning at Emerald Preserve. We will be there collecting non-perishables and canned goods for local food pantries. So it's a great way to start your Thanksgiving. Come on out. We begin at 8 o'clock. Come early, have a coffee, visit. Walk as much or as little as you want, but please bring the canned goods if you would, please. Also, Light the Square takes place December 1st, right here in Town Square. We will light the official holiday tree, and that will happen at 5 p.m. So please come out and join us and help us welcome the season. And then on behalf of myself, I'd like to wish you all a very safe and happy Thanksgiving. Please enjoy your time off in the holiday and those around you. So with that, we can go to adjournment.
Grillo moves to adjourn at 6:32.
Seifert, seconds.
Roll call, beginning with you, Don.
Grillo, aye.
Clark, aye.
Bukevich, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Hold aye.
Seifert, aye.
Chandler, aye. Anna, aye.
Sullivan, aye.
All right. Night, everybody.